With Mod Sween, Mod Wes, myself, Mod Archie, Mod Aiza, Mod Kieran, and we've got Mod Ghost, who will be doing a sneak peek of the week with the Zamorak, Page Arena 2 boss, and we also have Mod Maz on the chat, so at RuneScape with any questions you might have. I just remembered actually while doing that intro, I always say myself, Mod Archie, and somebody tweeted me saying, it's actually me, Mod Archie, not myself. You are completely wrong. And he said some mean things after that, but wow. I'm continuing to say myself. So.
I don't know if it's me, Mod Archie. Yeah. With me, Mod Archie?
Sounds like Mario.
And your host today.
It's a me, Mod Archie.
It is I, Mod Archie.
Oh dear.
Your Lord and Saviour. That's right.
All right, here we go. So before we get into the questions, a couple things to get through really quick. Although you probably can't do this very quickly.
Yeah, really quick. You're asking the wrong person for really quick. I'm not the really quick kind of guy. So
can you please summarize the recent blog/poll?
Yeah. So there's a blog. The poll is actually live in game now. It went live about an hour or so ago. So make sure you go cast your vote for the PVM qual and other updates that we can do within a week blog thing. It's in there, go vote. There's like 33 questions. Spent quite a bit of time going through Reddit, the forums, Twitter, taking together stuff, listening to feedback and making changes. The biggest changes that we made was that we removed the question for the Dragon Hunter crossbow range buff, removed the special attack question and replaced that with a new orb on the minimap to display the same thing. Pretty much it. One of the most controversial things people have brought up is around about the tentacle sync added to the trident. I mean, obviously, we've seen for a long time that people have been asking for a sync for tentacles. People want a buff to the trident. Might not have been the most nice of fitting ways to have done things, but ultimately, we as a team thought it would be a really good way to actually introduce them as a new item so that the staff will currently stay as it is. If you want to have the upgraded version, you can also have that.
It's their call regardless. If they don't like the idea, just vote no.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and then overnight I saw a lot of people saying, oh, let's make it so that we can also use the trident as well as tentacles. But when we do that, we've got to consider that, you know, what if someone wants to use just trident, or if someone wants to use just tentacles, is that another item? Are we also then just accommodating to an additional potential kind of merch scenario? Not that, you know, always that's something that we take into account, but ultimately that's the best decision that we came to, and that's why we've kept it the way that it was. The major thing to mention as well is that tomorrow we said that Wilderness Rejuvenation 2 rework was going to be coming out, but it's not. We've had to delay that until next week. So we've had a bit of illness this week in the QA department. We want to make sure that that update is to the best standards as possible. So it's going to be coming out next week instead. But this week you've got leather shields to look forward to. And obviously next week, as well as the Wordy Rejuve work, we'll have everything from the PVM, qual, and other content.
Sick,
yeah.
There was that end that Mod Ghost has made.
Incredible.
Especially. It looks amazing.
The attack animation, the way the kind of, I don't want to call them particles, but
the spores.
The flickering stuff around the other spores go into the attack. It looks so cool.
And the Sarah Knight.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do you want to actually go over the leather shields? Because that's quite exciting. It's come a long way. When did you first think of those?
Well, I made the model about a year ago.
Yeah.
And then I thought probably should design something around them about 6 months ago. And then I actually started doing the content. And then
here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Exciting.
It was supposed to just be a small update.
Who would have thought the wooden shield would be the base of something new?
It's easily the worst thing in the whole game.
Yeah.
It's a pretty iconic shield, though, because you get it off Tutorial Island. But yeah, essentially it's just range shields for mid-level players, I'd say. Just an offhand that isn't a book or one of the really high-level range shields.
Yeah. I think it's just a really solid, nice expansion to some content.
Yeah, fills the gap.
And lastly, before we get into the questions, Mod Sween, why wasn't I invited to the mobile beta?
Well, you personally already have access if you want it, because you're a staff member.
I'm voicing the community.
But if you are, if you're being like a member of the community, it's not because you were punished or we're like deliberately withholding it from you because we're malevolent. It's because we're specifically targeting 2,000 Android users to get Android data. Maybe afterwards we'll want to get iOS data. So then you'll get an invite.
Yeah, I think you said it in the news post. It's not a marketing stunt. That's not what we're going for. This is
it's
a proper beta that we need to see this working.
It's not in the hands of any content creators. It's just in the players who we feel will give us good feedback.
Well, That's mostly true. MMORPG happened to get access. Lucky for him.
That was just literally a fluke.
Yeah.
Like he managed to fit every single cohort specification we're looking for.
Yeah. There were no individual exclusive invites. This isn't something that we've done for promotional marketing purposes. It's literally just data and testing. And following off the back end of that, I actually asked the mobile team one of the top asked questions this week, which was why was it Android only and not iOS? And I've got a response here. So it says, this is our first beta, and there will be more on both iOS and Android going forward. We're looking for usability feedback whilst ensuring we're offering a smooth experience to participants, which is why we've limited this one to a defined group of devices. Our iPhone development and performance are up to speed with the Android build, so don't worry. Trying to tackle issues on 2 distinct platforms simultaneously would just be a lot more diverting, so it is simply that we're testing Android first and doing iOS later. As for a time frame of when the iOS beta will be released, there's no given time frame. It could be a week, could be 2, could be several weeks, months, who knows. But yeah, do keep an eye on our comms, and we'll let you know as soon as possible.
What I'll do after this, probably tomorrow actually, is edit the news post that went out yesterday with that kind of Q&A on it.
Cool.
Although I did enjoy the memes of the whole, the 0 inbox messages, because it all hawks back to the fact, when you really wanted to PMod and you get a message in your inbox and you're like, oh boys, what's this? And you click it and it's billing other. It's just disappointing, right?
I think that the genuine, last comment on this, genuinely speaking, there are hundreds of thousands of players that play our game. To expect to be one of those 2,000 people is just, stupidly lucky. So hopefully you guys aren't too upset if you weren't chosen. And again, best of luck going forward. But yeah, chances are pretty low.
It's exciting though. It's exciting. Players are getting their hands on mobile.
Yeah, it's happening.
Probably for the first time. It's it's an emotional moment for us, I think.
Yeah, to clarify as well, the initial invitation went out yesterday, but the beta starts on Friday. So it was more of like a heads up. This is what's going to happen on Friday. There's some information for you to know, and then further communications will be sent to the players on Friday.
All right, let's get into the questions. First question says, do you see Twisted Bow being useful in future PVM content / Raids 2? Currently, it feels like the Twisted Bow is purposely being trumped with every new update. Vorkath, Rune Dragons, etc. It feels the Twisted Bow is not going to be any good good in anything new rather, and the Blowpipe would be because it's more accessible.
I almost certainly expect the Twisted Bow to be useful in content in the future. The only content where we sort of avoid it being useful is where the creature isn't really a magical creature. Right, the Twisted Bow should work on magical creatures. In the case of Vorkath, it's not quite so much the case.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think the Twisted Bow is ridiculously useful.
Yeah, I was going to say,
got a ton
so
of
many
uses.
so many situations at the moment where it has uses. Hence why it's obviously it's rare, but it's so valuable because of how strong it is. It doesn't have to be the absolute best in absolutely every situation.
We haven't removed any uses either. We've given uses to other items for specific stuff. I think the only instance I can think of us removing a use from Twisted Bow will be next week's Major Arena 2 update, where it will no longer work on the bosses as effectively.
Oh, Panic Cell.
Well, it won't work at all on the bosses, so.
And yeah, as for the question of asking whether it will be useful in future content such as Raids 2, we're not going to give an answer there. We're not going to tell you.
We don't know yet, really.
Even if we did, we're not going to say there is a boss that you need the Twisted Bow for. Well, okay, that's not the case. I'll tell you that, but it's not something we're going
to get into Raids 2. You need to put a Twisted Bow as a key into the dungeon.
It's a magical door.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So this was following a discussion. So these questions actually that we're getting through right now have been kind of in the backlog. I've been meaning to get through, but we've been taking our time with the Q&As, which is great. But this one's from a couple weeks ago from Fo. It says, disallow Ironmen entering normal Corp room. Force Ironmen to use an instanced Corp room that closes within 60 seconds of leaving. Spec method remains, but forces you to spec for yourself, so you can't use mains. And can't be used to tally out mid-kill and restock because the health would regain. Yeah, so we've been aware of this issue for a little while, and we've had various discussions on how we can actually go about solving it. Forcing an instance obviously sounds like a reasonable solution. Problem is, we cannot keep an instance open when you go out. We can't keep it for 60 seconds. It will just go. We have no control of that.
So I've got a different idea in mind for fixing it, which hopefully should have no impact on how you do it whatsoever, really. Essentially, when people leave the room, it won't heal to full. It currently resets the HP to full. It'll just reset it to nearly full. So that means the damage won't be set that a different player's done, hence stopping an Iron Man getting a loot that somebody else has touched without really changing the behaviour.
Fantastic.
Something along those lines. I haven't quite worked it out, but...
All right.
An Iron Man should have to get their own Dragon Warhammer if that's what they want to do.
Yeah. Agreed. Next question. Can we get the option to zoom in and out with the page up and page down keys? Asking as a laptop user.
I don't know. That's the answer.
I would imagine that it's an engine feature.
It sounds like an engine thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely engine, all right.
Don't we use those buttons on our side?
We do use those buttons on our side.
I guess they could be.
Just plug in a USB mouse for a few seconds and scroll. Or go to the tab and just use the scroll wheel.
That is so much effort.
There's a tab though, isn't there, where you can zoom,
There
right?
is, yes.
Yeah.
But that is effort.
It's effort, but then, you know, that's what you get for using trackpad.
Yeah.
I'm for this idea, I'll have you know.
Okay.
I'll fight you.
You know, the first 7 months I ever played RuneScape, I used a trackpad on my laptop. I have no idea how.
Yeah.
I look back on that time, like, I didn't use F keys to switch or anything.
I
To be
still
fair-
do it when I'm using like basics, like when I'm doing like basic Slayer and
Yeah.
stuff, like low effort in bed. I still use trackpad.
So I'm the exact same, and I accept the fact that I set a level of zoom that is adequate for most situations, and
Trackpad's all well and
Off
good if
we
you're
go.
just alking, but I want to. You know what I want to say? I want to see top level PKing on trackpad as a competition.
No, you don't.
I want to see trackpads turn up to max sensitivity going.
Archie has spoken. No, you don't.
Back when I used to create content, I had this idea of buying the worst mouse you could possibly come across. There are some really bad mice out there. Some that just look like they shouldn't be mice, but they are. There's like ball mice and just weird mice. And basically the challenge was to go out in the wilderness, risking a lot and trying to get kills. So I'm looking at the PKing content creators right now saying, take that idea, someone do that. I'd love to see it. I never got around to it because I was too lazy, but you know, that'd be good. Eurowan says, can you look into adding an extra room of dust devils or expand the small room in the catacombs? It causes so much frustration, especially around peak hours.
To be honest, like, it's easy to say that yes, there's an issue with dust devils, but this is general crowding is an issue in so many more areas than dust devils. You could say the same thing for neck rails, abyssal demons, various bosses like Calphite Queen's always crowded. I think we need to look for a better solution, really, to that problem. And to go into the idea that I was talking about with you guys the other day, which I think potentially one day, hopefully, we'll get to doing something along these lines at least. It's a system in addition to the peak option system. So on everything that you can peak currently, we could add another option, peak all. This would bring up an interface which lists all of the worlds in-game and tells you whether it's empty or not empty for those pieces of content. Now, I wouldn't tell you how many people. I think if I told you about a world that's got one person, it would encourage crashing and make that easy. But if it told you empty or not empty for a piece of like content like Calphite Queen, or if we added it to like the Dagannoth Cave, that sort of thing, that would really, really help you find an empty world. Because it's not the case that all the worlds are full. It's just the case that so many of them are that it's hard to find that few that are empty. So I think that would go a long way to really improving it. And obviously we could add that to more places like Dust Devils and Netrails, which currently don't need a peak option because, you know, you can just stand there and hop. But something along that lines, I think, would potentially
a little
help.
controversy. I can't say that I've participated in much Slayer as of late, but my general opinion, mind you, I think some people will disagree, is I actually prefer seeing other players completing the same activity as me.
Yeah.
So running around a map, I would prefer personally to not have it be completely empty, almost as if everything was instance. I'd rather see people next to me like also completing that task or killing a different monster next to me, just feeling like the game's more lively, which it is. But I guess some people prefer to just have the game be just themselves.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like we can add more worlds, but it only helps to some degree on this front because it's not necessarily the issue that the worlds are all full. It's the issue that you can't find the worlds that are not full.
I swear the last few Q&As I've been on, there's always been like a catacombs crowding question.
Yeah.
Where I always say something sarcastic like, "Oh, let's just give you like your own private instance so you can barrage as like efficiently as possible," and then I just annoy every single efficient player.
It is all about the efficiency, though, isn't it? That's the only reason they're annoyed.
It is because
they're not
like
getting
you know,
max experience.
I personally, when I come to those situations and it's full and I can't be bothered to just hop around, I'm like, oh, whatever. I won't barrage. I'll just go melee my task down or just do it a little slower than normal. But that's not how everyone plays. And
Well, I refuse to do my tasks.
The thing is, though, it's like if I really can't be bothered, then I'll just be like, okay, whatever, I'll get this task through and go find another one. But other people don't play that way, and that's absolutely fine. And if that's a problem.
I burst Abyssal Demons last night and got a whip drop.
Ooh, well done.
Sorry, random.
All right, moving on. Here we go. John asks for new agility pyramids that are bigger and have higher requirements with XP rates to match. And the pyramid top for each pyramid sells for more depending on the pyramid difficulties.
Where are these pyramids going?
Next to the current ones.
The Great Pyramid expansion.
Underground.
Will there be a point where there's no desert left? There's just pyramids everywhere.
I love the fact I like the agility pyramid because even though that it's basically a bog standard agility course, it's just so much more interesting.
Yeah, I like the way that it runs out. The way that it plays out. But do we need more stuff for agility right now? And do we need another gold? Basically, it will give you more gold, right?
Yeah.
And agility pyramid is quite a good way to generate gold for Iron Man account, especially new accounts as well. If you want more gold as well, it's like more gold, more XP, and people are looking at rooftops and want rooftops to be looked at differently. So I'd rather say, let's make rooftops more interesting than let's just create a whole new host of courses that will cause rooftops to probably be dead content.
So and also, the guy who tweeted at you with all the hashtags. He wants like a hashtag advanced gnome, hashtag advanced barbarian, and so on.
I'll just point it out. There was a guy who asked me a question today. I think he was new to Twitter. He put a hashtag in front of every word, and I don't think he was joking.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's what you do on Instagram, isn't it? Every time I have a look at a post, I've never used Instagram. And whenever I go on Instagram, all I see is 25 hashtags. It's like, that can't be helping.
He's looking to get that reach.
Poor guy. I hope he doesn't watch this. All right. The next question. Feel bad. I'm sorry. All right. PVM Dream says, what series to watch while doing rune crafting for the next month? He's going from 85 to 99 rune crafting in 1 month.
I'm pretty sure that took 12 years, doesn't it? Not 1 month.
A month is, that's ambitious. What series to watch? Do you want to start?
Twin Peaks.
Can it be any sort of series?
Yeah.
Friends? Anyone can watch
It's on
Friends.
Netflix, yeah.
I was worried what you were going to say when you said any kind of series.
Well, I mean, like sitcoms or
At least it's something so basic and normal.
Well, he said Twin Peaks. I thought that's it's not a sitcom, is it?
I'd probably say.
Are you going to say Dragon Ball?
I was going to say either Vikings or Dragon Ball Super because it's
I'm
just
watching
awesome.
Black Mirror.
Black Mirror is what I was going to say as well.
Just watch everything on Netflix.
Why are you not saying Doctor Who?
I don't like.
Of course, Doctor Who.
It's gone downhill.
Did you have one?
I was going to say Black Mirror.
Oh, okay.
Then you took the words right out of my mouth.
All right.
What about early
Stranger
seasons of Doctor Who?
Things. Stranger Things.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Actual questions. This is a good one. Wright says, are you still planning on making Theater of Blood one fixed path with a predetermined room order? He says, this is not a good idea. For obvious reasons, the Chambers of Zarek and Dungeoneering had the idea of randomized dungeons, which is very appealing to players. Goes on for quite a tangent here, saying why he doesn't think it's a good reason.
So, obviously there are a lot of benefits to doing a randomized structure, and it can keep it really interesting because it changes each time. And that's something the Chambers of Zarek offers, and we very much want to offer something like this, a slightly different experience with this, and it's just, all our raiding dungeons shouldn't be the same thing with just different things inside the rooms, right? I want to do something different. But the focus that it can give us by having that determined structure is that it's something you can really nail down. You can learn the tactics for inside out and get faster and faster times and not have to worry about hoping you get a lucky dungeon layout. That's going to really help you to get a record run.
Yeah. I think this will involve less RNG, more skill. Not that there's anything at all wrong with Chambers of Xeric, I absolutely love it, but I think this is going to be a completely different raid entirely. Not just that, but also the mechanics. There aren't going to be skilling or resource collecting rooms. It's just it's a completely different piece of content. I don't think it should be necessarily reflected and have to make
and I'm sure as well when we do raids 3, if we ever do a raids 3, that it will be. Confirmed. If we ever do raids 3, that it will again be something slightly different to the experiences the other 2 raiding dungeons offer.
I mean, predetermined raids haven't harmed or been detrimental to any other MMO out there, have they?
They've definitely been done successfully,
yeah.
and I'm confident that ours will be after we we're kind of finalizing the designs right now. But raids 3, there is no discussion on raids 3. Don't worry.
Let's get raids 2 out first.
We're past that. We're on raid 6 already. Raid 3 was a long time ago.
All right.
Raids 3 hype.
Delay on the stream, right?
Where have we gone to now?
We're all using Internet Explorer.
I figure we have about 10 minutes before we go over to Mod Ghost, if that's all right. Yep. Cool. Over says, let us use God book pages on fire to get back burnt pages. This was a genuine suggestion that had actual support.
I'm sure we've said something like this similar before.
I think I've suggested this as well.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at his suggestion.
It is a funny suggestion.
Why?
It came up.
Surely a burnt page is cheaper than a God page.
Well, some of the God pages are just useless.
Yeah, it came up basically when we did the whole you can exchange your Tome of Fire for burnt pages. It was like, how about a nice sync for useless God pages? And it was like, what if there was some special, I don't know, holy fire of some sort or some weird fire that you put the pages on?
Of some sort.
Look,
this is why
you're selling this so well.
Look, there's some magical fire. You put a page into it, and it goes. Out comes some burnt pages.
Oh, I did suggest a magical fire with the dark spellbook.
Oh, there you go. Look, magical fire. See?
That's where I.
Was it the magical fire of some sort, or did that
it's just I don't know. Just
I think
powered by the Dark Altar, I guess.
I think this needs a confident pitch. Take everything you just said and put it in a very confident pitch, and I think you can sell it.
Harry Potter and the magical fire of some sort.
Okay, genuinely speaking, memes aside, what do you think of the idea?
I just don't see why those pages become burnt pages. Wouldn't that apply to, if you've got a magic fire, couldn't it apply to every single book in the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, but for the record, by the way, I
never
said I wanted it. I was saying we talked about it before because I remember.
I think it was just because no one really uses Sarah pages.
Exactly. There's like
you might as well do something with them.
All right. Poe says, since Magic doesn't have any good special attack weapons, do you think we will see any community-driven ideas to fix this? I will say right now, it is certainly one of the most suggested things to come from Raids 2 as a reward. Not saying we're going to offer it. Just saying, ask the community for feedback for rewards that you'd like to see from Raids 2, and a lot of people are saying Magic special attack weapon. So
we've discussed a lot of suggestions and kind of put forward our own. There's a thread on the forums which is kind of dedicated to Magic, which I'm planning on dropping by and just seeing if they've got anything to kind of fill that niche too. I'm not saying we're going to do it, but again, if there's demand for it, then we'll see if we can cater for it.
There you go. Sorry. One Lucky says, currently raids downscale in difficulty and points when the average combat level is lower than 115. Could you consider lowering this threshold or removing downscaling completely, as there is a sizable portion of the free-for-all community that raid on a restricted build that can do very similar DPS to a maxed main?
I think the difficulty is trying to distinguish between people playing restricted builds effectively and then people being carried. Like crap accounts being carried as opposed to people who can complete raids well. So I don't know how we distinguish that.
It's a valid concern. I think I'm sure there are some really lower combat players, maybe peers, that can still do raids very sufficiently, probably better than some mains. Seems like something we should probably look into.
I mean, something we already mentioned, and as part of this whole PVM poll, is that we got a load of raid suggestions. I mean, this is just one suggestion, but there's a whole host of other ones that and some of which were very, very reasonable changes that we could have easily put in this update, but we want to do a dedicated look at raids and Chambers of Xeric and see what we can do there.
Why are there what faces?
Stop.
What are we doing?
No, just for like the last couple of minutes. It usually just means that one of us has a mic messed up, but I think we're okay. Maybe I'm being trolled. Jim says, I see that you've added rare implinks to Fossil Island. Could you please consider adding them to the wilderness? I've done it now.
You
All
have.
chats, what faces.
Well done. Well done, Archie.
I like the suggestion it was a while ago now, but about a wilderness-specific impling that you needed risk to catch. So
I really like that idea.
I don't know
Could
what
be cool.
would be.
Not against it. I mean, why not?
We've still got that one.
I think it's a cool idea.
Potentially something we could sneak into the PvP call week.
I think if we were, I mean, the biggest issue would be around what would this wilderness impling give you, and is it going to be similar to like a lucky impling or a dragon impling, or is it going to be something completely different? And if it's something completely different, then we need to think, okay, that's a whole balancing thing, and that's a little bit more than just a little add it in and do it.
PK and gear.
Well, I'll pull up the design page somebody posted to Reddit. It was quite a while ago, but it was a really cool idea.
Yeah.
We never got around to offering it. Maybe not a qual week is meant for this, because this isn't really quality of life. But
I was going to say it's not really suited for the PvP poll either, because it's skilling.
Would people want a wilderness impling?
Depends what it gives you. I
that
think
sounds like a fair straw poll, I think. Would you be interested in seeing a wilderness impling? So risky, but higher reward, I would assume.
Anyone's mic
I think it might be trolling, because
I think we're being trolled.
I think if it was actually muted, there'd be a lot more people talking about it.
Nice try, Twitch chat, but not today.
The phone.
Yeah,
we both.
I wasn't asking you guys. I was asking the audio controller. I was just looking over in this direction. So.
We're going to have the straw poll in the chat for you guys momentarily. Let's move along to the next question then. A guy with pants says, thoughts on Zulrah NPC asking for 50 to 100k on death to give items back?
I missed that.
Solver NPC acting like Thorfinn does, essentially.
Yeah, well...
50 to 100k to reclaim your items if you die.
So you were going to ask a question about death mechanics as well, were you not? At some point.
It's in here, yeah, somewhere.
Okay, I'll answer both now, I guess.
All right.
In that, so people have wanted to know about death mechanics. So they know we had a meeting on it, and they're asking this question too. We don't know if we want to do anything to death mechanics yet. We need to see what the players want and what the data says. So whilst we're gathering the data, like game data, we'll be sending out a survey to players to participate in, to see what you feel about death mechanics, and maybe offer a few pitches as well.
Fair.
And that would also link into perhaps the Zulrah NPC.
Seems surprisingly a lot of support in the chat, so I'm curious to see how that one's going to go. We have the results back from that straw poll asking about a wilderness impling, and I believe that's sitting on about 78% yes. Mm-hmm. Rather strong, considering it's something in the wilderness. That's neat to see. And I think we have time for one more question before we head over to Mod Ghost with a sneak peek. The death mechanic question was literally the next question. Holler says, can there be some kind of indication as to how long left there is on a volcanic mine instance when you're outside and there's already one running?
I think this has sort of been on the backlog for a while. We just haven't really got to it. But I'd certainly think that's a very reasonable idea and
Skilling
should
call.
be done.
I was just going to say, is it perfectly fitting for
Could well be
Skilling
done for that, yeah.
poll next week?
All right, that's exciting. That being said, sure, let's throw things over to Mod Ghost with the sneak peek of the week.
Hey, yeah. So this week we're going to be going over these major arena bosses. I'm just going to do a recap on the end that we did last week. Oh, looks like Mod West is joining us as well. He'll be showing off his Saradomin boss as well with us, so we'll go over to the editor just here. So we showed you the end last week. There's been a few bits of polish done to those animations, so I'm just going to quickly run through those animations, then we'll get on to your boss, the Saradomin one, and then we'll do the Zamrak boss as well. So let's just run a playthrough. There we go. So that's the spawn animation. We'll not dwell too long on these. We'll just get them out of the way. Then that moves into the idle animation. You can now see that the seeds drift around it properly as it stands there There we go. I'm actually just going to open the Zamorak boss just here and close the spawn down because it's messing about with us. There we go. So that should run more fluidly now. It's too close. Okay, is that okay? Sorry guys, technical issues. Are we good? Yeah, okay, that's great. Right, so that's the idol. So moving on. We've then got a few attacks as well. Oh, hang on, we've got the walk animation. I'll show you that next. Right, okay, so that's him walking along. I'll just make him walk for you. There you go. You can see that his feet are grabbing into the ground there. And you can see the roots stretching up at the back. That's kind of cool. Oh, the glow on the floor as well is actually coming from these spores that are drifting around him. You'll see when those spores vanish for various animations, the glow on the ground dims. Right, so let's just move off that one. And let's go into the melee attack. So you can see this one's kind of cool because his hand sort of stretches out. If I just play that slowly for you. Just got a few transforms on there to really sort of stretch these roots out. Give him like this huge hand, so that kind of makes it feel like it's really whipping and lashing. It's a nice little trick for animation there, just distorting on various keyframes. Let's close that as well, and let's show you the magic attack. It's kind of cool because what we've got here is his hand slowly opens up and you can see all the spores get pulled in there. Shockwave, yeah, it's cool. That's actually a player suggestion over Twitter. They said, why don't you make the spores all gravitate towards the hand? I was like, okay, cool, let's try that. It was a bit like tricky, but I managed to get it, so that's nice. And you can see a cool thing as well here, it's like the recoil. His arm actually breaks in the wrong direction. It's another cool trick with animation. It just kind of makes you feel like there's a real sort of snapback after the blast. Right, let's see what else. I believe we've got a defend animation now as well. The spores help him out again, and it all come together to create a shield for him. You can see, of course, the glow on the ground vanishes away there as the spores dissipate too. And then we've got the death animation as well. He goes away. There you go, it's the end of that. Okay, so that's enough of the end. Let's move swiftly on to the Zealot, this Saradomin Zealot. Do you want me to pass you over the controls and whatnot? Yep, I'll pass you over the microphone as well.
I've got a mic.
Oh.
Hopefully they can hear me.
Aren't we advanced?
Okay, cool. So why is he not visible? Have you got it hidden? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So here's the Zealot in a lovely T-pose. So we'll go with the idol to begin with. So
I really like the gold colours there. They actually feel like gold, which is difficult to get in.
Yeah. I went for a few.
Game.
I think the first bit of feedback I got was that it looked too armadillion in colours. So I sort of I pushed the blues and the armour more towards the red, so it would match the wilderness environment a little bit better. So here's the idol as he just stands there.
Oh, the sword flashes.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Then we've got with the walk animation. There you go.
Can you hit W to make him walk?
Oh yeah, of course. There you go. So he's
There you
walking. The reason there's like this sort of weird glow around him is that's just because there's hidden geometry, and when we hide it, it sort of just has that. It just sort of erases the grid. But that's not too bad.
I'll move out of the way a bit more. It's not good for your back to be stretching like that.
That's fine. It's only a couple of minutes. We'll go with the spawn next.
That's what you say until you hear a crack.
So this is when you summon him in the buildie. Yeah, that's what he does.
That's very cool.
I'll just do that from a few different angles. Then we got a slash attack. So
I love the speed of that. That really feels like he goes for it.
I did a decent job of the rotation there. It just happened to work really well. That I tried to sort of rotate the main thing around a little bit, and it sort of pivoted on this foot really well. So that was really cool. And also,
does he sort of spin the sword over his head?
Yeah, it does. That took a while for that to sort of, and it still does look a little awkward, but it sort of just follows through with the momentum because then he got one arm.
Cool.
And then there's also a variant of that, which is a bit spoilery, but one with it glowing.
Cool.
You can guess what that does. And then we've got a magic attack. Sort of points at you aggressively. Zoom in, there we go. I want to get the whole effect in. There you go. And that will be like a Saradomin strike, as you'd imagine. Then we've got a death. So each boss has I think one of them still has a heart, but this one, he will drop his hand behind. So as you can see there, it sort of just bounces at the end there.
Oh, that's cool. Does mine have to drop the seed?
I mean,
you can put that back in the
end.
end.
It can just appear at the end.
Yeah, okay, that's cool.
It sort of works as well, because we looked at it in-game earlier as well, and as the hand disappears, it's replaced with the item.
That's really cool. Did you just line it up on the tile? Yeah,
well, I got to that final, and then just saved it out as a model.
Oh,
and
okay.
removed all the rest of the geometry.
Cool.
Worked out quite nice. Have we got any more animations? I think that's all of them. Oh no, I did the idol, didn't I?
Oh, you didn't do defend?
Oh, defend. That's a good point. Okay. I mean, defends usually get in the way because they take such low priority that they generally sort of...
I actually don't like making defends just because you very rarely get to see all of them.
They always interrupt it as well, because if they can go for an attack or do something else, it cuts away halfway through, so it's quite difficult to get that to look half decent. So yeah, there we go. There's our animations. Over to the demon.
Cool. Right. Okay. We'll just close him, and this is the last one. This is the Zamorak demon boss. So I'm just gonna go to the spawn for this guy. Okay. So I'll run through the spawn very slowly, because often these things are kind of, you blink and you miss them. So the cool thing about this one is lightning strikes the ground, we get this Zamorakian symbol appear on the floor. There we go, and then he'll kind of just fade in and rise up out of the symbol, and then he steps forward into his idle pose like this. So all together now. There we go, just rotate around that a little bit. Some people said on Twitter as well they didn't like the sort of rounded tail, so I've added some fur to the end of his tail as well, just there to kind of finish that off a bit. So that's very nice. I'll let you have a quick look at his face and everything. The cool thing about this as well is we've got kind of this real sort of fur feel as well on him. So yeah, it looks kind of nice. Right, okay, so that's the spawn animation. Then we've got the idle animation, which he then goes into after he's completed his spawn. So he'll just be doing that. Nothing too exciting there. He's got kind of his hands opening up and he's kind of breathing in and out, and his wings are kind of adjusting. And then from the idle animation, he can go into his walk animation. So if I just load that up, and then I can actually make that walk. Let's see how that sort of works there. I'll just close the idle down. And he's got kind of a nice sort of weighty walk as he sort of plants his hooves on the ground as well. And his tail kind of just does a little flick as he walks along too. So we'll close the walk. Then we've got his attacks. Actually, I'll show you his defend. His defend's quite basic, so he kind of just pulls his wings around and then the symbol appears in front of him and then dissipates afterwards. Okay, then we've got the melee attack, which isn't too exciting either, it's just like a claw slash.
Pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's kind of mean, so he'll sort of like pull back and sort of really stand up on his feet and sort of come down like that and slash across. So that's kind of dull, to be honest. Yeah, dabbing. Yeah. It's a bit like that, isn't it?
Vicious dab attack.
Then with the magic attack, he kind of takes a deep breath in like this, and you see his mouth kind of closes up. He's got some transforms on there, and then he'll kind of spit out a fireball attack like that at you. And then as well as that, we've just got the death attack, which is the last one. So it's pretty much just the spawn reversed, just with a little bit where he kind of stumbles back a bit and then just falls down. Then a bit of lightning, etc., and he vanishes. Nothing too exciting with that. So yeah, those are all of the bosses. I'll just...
With a lot of our NPCs in our game, they just sort of blink out of existence.
Yeah, that's true. It's also a good idea to just spend most of your time actually getting the walk and the idle and sort of like the attacks looking nice, and the death and the spawn are kind of nice to have, really. They're not like too essential. So yeah, that is the major arena bosses. We'll be back next week. I think you'll be on, won't you? Perhaps Mod West. I'll definitely be here, and I'll have a nice surprise to show you next week. I can't say anything more than that. So thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Right. I feel like I have to say I've been on the old school team for a long time now, like nearly 3.5 years, and the degree that the art has jumped up with this level of like intensity is absolutely incredible. Like, honestly, not to be too kiss-assy, but you guys are absolutely killing it. That is amazing. Yeah. Same goes for Mod Ray as well. He's working on the environment for Raids 2, and it's looking incredible.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
Don't know how many of our Twitch viewers have been here for the last like 3 to 4 years, but
it's phenomenal.
It's really impressive.
Yeah.
All right, moving along. Reg says, can we have a music box added to the player-owned houses? This will allow us to, to set the music that automatically plays in our houses. Would not unlock songs for players that don't have them.
This keeps coming up, and I love the idea, and I'd love to do it.
Do you remember in the old forums there was a thread, like the content suggestions one? It was not things not to suggest, and then a list of like commonly suggested stuff and the reasons why we can't do it or we're working on it and stuff. I'm going to recreate that because this comes up all the time, and I can't remember why we can't do it, but I think it's engine or something like that.
I think that'd be a very valuable list to have.
Yeah.
I mean, soul crushing, but valuable.
So think of the day when something finally becomes available to do.
I mean, maybe there's got to be a way. Surely it's possible. How not?
Kieran's still holding on to this glimmer of hope. One day.
He wants his player-owned home jukebox.
Kieran putting it on the Q&A thread every week.
Yeah.
Let's not try to find a way.
It's all accounts.
I should
hang on to that one. Well,
my dream doesn't want to end.
I'm sure they won't forget about it. All right, next one's actually for you. Poop says, Kieran mentioned on Reddit about wanting to have God Wars dungeon bosses reset their health when no one was in the room. Is that something you can offer?
Sorry, I'm still thinking about the jukebox. No, we've been discussing that as well, right?
Yeah.
What came of our discussions?
So we actually spoke about this when we were putting together ideas for the PVM qual section, and ultimately we decided that because basically the main reason for it is to help Ironmen, right? Is that this is going to benefit Ironmen because the main issue is that they get ragged. People will come in, get the kill, or even if someone else has attacked it beforehand, not finished the kill off or just left their trip or whatever, and Ironman goes in, their first kill is wasted. So rather than it be something that we look at doing in a poll, we agreed that it's more of an integrity issue than anything else, very similar to the specking on bosses, and we'll address that as part of that kind of same change as well at the same time.
And the biggest thing with God Wars that makes it obviously a more severe problem is the fact that you have to spend 40 kill count. Mm-hmm. You can't just quickly go bang, get your resupply and get back to it.
Yeah.
We've got an item for that, man. Like, let's go and get some keys.
Yeah, there's the keys to get straight back in. I think the main thing is that in other bosses where they're left at half HP, it's not that much of a problem because like you will come back if you end up finishing halfway through your trip and want to come back after you've resupplied. But with God Wars Dungeon, unless you use the key, you're going to have to get 40 kill count again, and in that time,
and even getting the key is going to take time, and so it's costly for an account to say I've just wasted all that time spent gaming for a trip. Now, obviously, we're cautious that we don't want to affect legit players with making such a change. So the only time this would actually affect the legit players, as far as I know, is if you actively leave one at half health intentionally with the plan to come back in and finish it off later, which doesn't really happen very much at all. So with other bosses, that happens a lot more frequently. But with other bosses, you don't get 40 kill count to get in for an Iron Man, so it's not so much of a problem.
For those asking or spamming why in the chat, essentially, if an Iron Man walks into a room and finds a boss at 95% health, then finishes it, they don't get the drop, obviously. Somebody else does who's long gone at that point. So that's literally it.
It's like walking into a fine restaurant expecting you're going to get steak and ending up with pickles on toast with cheese or something, right?
But you've paid for the steak.
Yeah, it's like you pre-book for a meal, you go in, you go sit, oh sorry, we gave your table away, you're going to have to leave, and they don't give you a refund.
Yeah, you waited 45 minutes in a queue for a table and everything.
Right. Here we go. Next one. Fen says, Dragon Slayer 2 is awesome. Do you have any plans for quests in some of the main storylines, such as Zeros, Majorat, I can never say these names, Myrek,
Myarchy.
Myrek.
I used to say Myreek as a kid. So.
Or elves, was the question.
Well, the good thing about Dragon Slayer was that there was no continuation in the other game. So a lot of those storylines have been finished.
Yep.
So if we can find one that hasn't been finished, that would probably be a more interesting way to go.
Well, we're looking at the MyRec stuff for
Hilarious.
Hilarious. Yeah, we're looking at stuff in MyRec for Theatre of Blood, but elves and Zaros at the moment, no, I don't believe so.
Potential for one day, though, you know.
Yep. We know you all love quests, and well, a lot of us in the team love writing quests. So
a couple of probably the most exciting ones are still obviously like Menaphos and Prifdness. They both attract a lot of interest.
Someone wants Rag and Bone Man 3?
Oh God, no. That's the chicken too.
Yeah. I think Cook's assistant is funnier than that.
Well, it's the one large favour.
I want to do another small favour.
Another small favour.
Could it actually be a small favour though?
Mod Maz wants to do another small favour. There you go.
I legit think one small favour is one of the most iconic quests in the whole game. Like, it sums up the whole questing experience in the game, and it takes one of probably, one of the most annoying parts of questing, which is just filling in some medial task. It takes it past that point where it's just annoying, and it takes it to the point where it becomes good.
All right. We're coming back to the mobile question that I addressed earlier. I believe I said that if you tweet Mod Aiza, 1 in 1,000 tweets will get access. Was that right?
You're the one that decided to do this because I called you out on something earlier. So, go ahead.
Mod Aiza gave me a sassy reply. I said, you know what? I'm going to plug your Twitter, and I'm going to spam your feed.
But no, you can't even remember it, so it kind of like flopped,
I genuinely don't.
Hey, Aiza, I'm going to get you, but I'm not going to remember how I'm going to get you, but I'm going to make myself look foolish.
Yeah, you had a tweet that said, for every like you get, you're going to give out a beta code.
I didn't have that tweet. Aiza stitched me up.
Oh yeah, I stitched you up with that tweet. Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, we're off the course here. Do you know what? Let's do this notepad thing now, because there are a few questions we might have time to get to. So,
notepad thing.
What I wanted to do today is just add in a very small, quick, probably just a few minutes element to spice up the Q&A today, for the sake of variety. Really.
I have no idea what this is.
So what we have here are notepads with little pens, and what I'm going to ask you guys to do is to write down the very first word that pops into your head when I say something. And what we're going to do is, for the first few, I've got straw polls. Mod Maz will be throwing into the chat. You guys can join us.
What if the word I think of is rude?
That's up to you, dude. I mean,
just put stars.
Yeah.
You've seen the social media policy, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you something. And,
I'm assuming it's RuneScape related, so we should be okay.
It is RuneScape related. And chat, you're going to also. So I'm looking for be involved. And yeah,
participate.
Participate. That's the word. So here we go. All right. First question is, not really a question. Name the most iconic RuneScape weapon. The first weapon that pops into your head. All right. Turn it around.
Hold on, I'm not ready yet.
Did you wait until all we did ours?
No, I was just thinking, what's the most iconic one?
I think we've got stream delay as well.
All right, so we have a bit of a stream delay, that's true. So if we can get the results of that straw poll, we'll see what the community said. We'll see how in line we are with the community. So they've said, Abyssal Whip. Oh man, I have AGS. Oh, you have a whip, well done.
I have a whip.
There you go.
Bronze sword.
What did you get?
I've got D-Long, I'm in 6th place at the moment.
Where's AGS?
Mine's not even on there.
Do we get points for this?
How do you guys not even include bronze sword? It's the first weapon you get in the game.
We don't have points. We're just going for.
I guess that comes under other.
Yeah, other.
I'm not gonna lie. There isn't really
Are these
ROI on
prepared
this. I just
straw
wanted to
balls?
know. It's fun as well. All right, next one. So for context, I guess for YouTube who cannot see the straw poll, it's like 46% Abyssal Whip. The next majority is Dragon Scimitar. Following that, it's DDS. Is that right?
Yep.
And then we have God Sword, accounting for AGS, SGS, etc. Next one. Name the most iconic RuneScape armor that is a set. Set of armor. I don't know if they can read these or not. so slow.
Are you?
What have you got? Rune armor.
Full rune.
Yeah.
Full bronze.
Gone for bronze.
Oh.
Okay.
He's just summing up his life here. Bronze sword followed by bronze armor.
So community's saying 70% say rune. Well done, that's the obvious one. Next majority being dragon, actually. Following that, we have bandos and then barrows, actually. There you go. I'm only going to do a couple more. But next one, I believe we have a straw poll for this as well. By the way, apologies if yours was not selected on this, but I just assumed these were the obvious ones.
Obvious to me.
Most iconic RuneScape food. This is great for data as well. There's a purpose.
I don't think mine's even visible.
What did you get? Lobster?
Lobbies.
Shark.
Shrimp.
Okay.
It's the first food you cook.
I did put shrimp on the list.
I think I'm winning.
Isaac, you have 3%.
Win.
Lobster, on the other hand, 59%.
Lobster
That's
taking
right.
over.
Come on, guys, vote up the shrimp.
What about the rare black lobster?
Shark following after that, then carambola, probably just for the memes, and then swordfish.
So I've got everyone right so far.
Nice.
I think we should do another
You're
one.
a typical player.
Well, I want to be wrong on one of them at least.
All right. So the last one that I have. Oh, actually, I have 3 more. We'll be quick. And chat. Unfortunately, we don't have straw polls for these ones, so we're relying on you to spam in the chat. Fill a wall with the word, and that's what we're going to see.
This is always going to end well.
Yeah.
Okay. Most iconic RuneScape special attack.
Like the name of the weapon or the name of the spec? The weapon, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. We see a chat full of DDS.
DDS. See, I thought I might take
Are
it.
we all DDS?
No, it'd be close.
I'm taking it a bit more serious now because people genuinely thought that I was like, he really thinks bronze sword is the most popular weapon.
So out of touch.
I haven't told you what the prize is yet. Your last place one. There's no prize. Most iconic RuneScape NPC. This is a given.
Oh. Is it a given?
Yeah. No, why does everybody not say this one? Wow.
No, mine's gone.
I might be
blank,
wrong.
man. I've gone Bob.
Chad is saying
Oh,
Bob.
yes,
I have
please.
Wise Old Man.
Wise old
I
man.
don't know.
no.
Yeah.
I have hands, because he was the first NPC.
But wise old man then.
Wise old man.
Okay. Well, we're right. They're wrong. That's all right.
Whoa.
Is this how it works?
Bob is no longer an NPC, let me just remind you.
All right. Last one I'm going to ask. Most iconic RuneScape boss of all time.
Ooh.
Of all time, like
Of all time.
EOC.
RuneScape in general.
Next.
RuneScape as a whole. Come on, chat.
Oh.
They need to change their answers quick.
I think. Oh, why
Elvarg.
am I
They're
not
saying
winning?
Elvarg and KBD. KBD, really?
I would KBD.
I went
Okay.
I went
KBD.
Elvarg.
They seem to think it's dragons. You've got Bandos, Elvarg. I've got Jad. I thought Jad was obvious. And KBD. Interesting. Well, there you go.
Cool.
I want to do more of these.
Do I win
thought
for being
it'd
the
be
most
fun.
creative?
Yeah.
I wrote Bandos GWD. I forgot how to spell Grador.
Have we got more?
Pulled out on it.
That was it. I just wanted to waste a few minutes having some fun today. There you go. We have a birthday. Well, you know,
Yeah.
non-questiony stuff. But anyways, we do have questions we'll get through. We have more time in the stream, so apologies for wasting time. Anyways, lost the lid to my pen.
Give them one
We do
more.
have a birthday stream coming up. We can probably incorporate some more of this if you guys enjoyed this.
Everyone's saying
Probably
happy
do it
birthday.
in a much more professional fashion as well. But there you go.
Whose birthday? Is it your birthday,
No, it's
Shireen?
not. All right, here we are. Cause says, can we make Sorcerer's Garden useful? It's currently really dead content. Odd Maz is laughing.
You said birthday instantly, everybody.
Happy birthday, Archie.
Can't you stack
Your
really high
reaction to that.
thieving experience with that content though?
Sorry?
Like you can like get loads of thieving experience all at once by
Yeah.
giving the squirks in. It has some form of use if you want a
well,
week of EHP.
yeah.
I mean, if we buff it, we'll be caught in a cycle of, well, we buffed Sorcerer's Garden and now this bit of thieving method isn't as good, so buff that one. And then all of a sudden we spend all our time buffing dead content.
What about it is dead? What's wrong with it? Is it just because it's not max XP rates?
Yeah.
In the chat I'm seeing people say it's fine.
We get this every week with a certain item or a skilling method or a monster to kill, etc. It's always make this better because it's dead. And by dead, they mean it's not the meta. It's not best in slot. So essentially, I think some people just want everything to be like the best.
We could
there have to be things that aren't the best.
We could improve it without making it the best experience by giving it like a unique item.
Yeah.
Like the pyramid in Menethos has the Sophonem. Which one is it? Sophonem, the one that has the scepter, which is when you get that, it's like, oh, I just made loads of money. That's pretty cool. So if we had like a similar sort of thieving related update that sort of made it slightly better, but only if you get lucky without changing the speed rates, that could potentially work. But I mean, I'd like to hear some suggestions from them really, because I can't say I've played that content in a while.
I think in saying that it needs something unique, it is unique in its own respect. It's quite unique compared to the other methods, that is at least. But there you go. Boulder says, could there be a high-level agility shortcut, being 90 plus, to scale the walls of the Slayer Tower, allowing you to emerge through the windows on the top floor by the gargoyles?
So we did discuss this as an idea. Firstly, we think it's actually currently fairly reasonable. You get to the front of the Slayer Tower, you have one chain through the Aberrant Spectres and you're pretty much there. If we had a shortcut, the meta for the boss will very much become teleport to your house, drink from the pool, teleport back, and take the shortcut straight back up to the boss. I don't really want that to be the meta. I mean, we had a whole conversation, in fact, the community with the people who suggested it and brought it up, about the meta for Vorkath being using your house. And they were very much, from what I saw anyways, the community's opinion was we should have bosses that are not directly next to teleports, and that moves away from that issue. So the Garg boss is in a fairly nice position currently.
That being said, we have discussed about making it a little bit more profitable in some way of killing the boss, but we don't want to jump into making changes just yet, because at the same time we have plans to discuss other NPCs that you can kill that are very profitable, that may have an impact.
Specific.
Basically, we're going to talk about monsters that have very overpowered drop tables.
Trying to be really vague.
So specific things like gargoyles, necreals, things that drop a hell of a lot of money for very little effort. We're going to hopefully look at balancing them so that things like the gargoyle boss might not be as bad in comparison to said monsters.
That said, we're still looking at doing something to the gargoyle boss potentially.
Yeah, and we'll still look at doing the gargoyle boss as well, but we're not going to jump into it just yet because we don't want to make it like equivalent to what might not be current.
Right. Just as a follow-up to that, because I said I would mention it, do you think we'll ever see a nerf to the grotesque Guardian's hit points levels?
And that's one of the areas we're looking at. Potentially reducing the health, which means you can, the drop table inherently gets a buff because you can kill them faster. Another option that can be considered is like 2 kills per as well, so that the Slayer tasks don't take as absurdly as long. That sort of thing. We can consider different ideas.
There's a question in the chat saying, will the new Staff of Light have a toxic version?
Initially, no, but we can make it have a toxic version.
See if it passes the poll first.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to get through the poll once it's done. I mean, it'll be a very simple thing to change from what I understand with the way that the staff's been implemented. So, yeah, it can have it if it needs to.
Would it be best to have a toxic version? It doesn't really sound very Saradomini.
I was just thinking, yeah.
It's kind of why I didn't include it to begin with. We spoke about it.
Can't stop you to put like a toxic thing onto it, can you?
Yes, she can.
Yeah, but I think the reason is because it's like Staff of the Dead, though, right? That's why it's like toxic. It's like death, and well, Saradomin is like holy and light, and it'd be like purifying. So.
Yeah, but that's because you attach a piece of Zulrah onto it. Like,
yeah, because they're allowed to like combine. It's like death and Zulrah and poison, whereas the holy light is like, no, you're not coming here. Repel, and it repels off the toxicity.
Plus it gives an opportunity to have a new unique from a different boss.
Yeah.
Instead of just having the same
There we go.
unique use.
How about we have like Saradomin's holy something that will be the equivalent of toxic staff.
Keep
Fang.
going. Keep going.
Write a quest. I want to see how this pans out. I'm gripped.
All right. So many questions left. We're unfortunately running very low on time. In fact, we're out of time. So we're going to make it one last question, and that is asking about the weekly community live streams. Will they ever return?
They have
They
been
did
here.
return a couple weeks ago, didn't they?
That's a very good point, actually. Thank you, because I was meant to mention that at the start. So yeah, we've done 2 community streams now. Thursdays, 5 p.m. GMT till 6 p.m. GMT. Unfortunately, there won't be one this week. We've just got too much going on. We can't put together the time to...
That talking about monsters meeting you just referred to, that's when that happens.
Basically, I'm prioritising being involved with talking about nerfing certain monster drop tables rather than the community stream. So I apologise, but I want to make sure that we can represent you guys as best as we can.
And
so
on our 5th birthday, we launched a new channel, which means we'll have a lot more flexibility in doing community streams. So more ad hoc stuff on days, more weekend streams as well.
I'm going to be selfish and go through one last question because I was curious to ask this today. And that was from Ben saying, make KQ head 100% drop on your 128th kill, similar to how Vorkath works.
Very similar to the question in the chat.
Yeah, Andy Pixel Studios asked the same thing.
Yeah.
There you go. Guaranteed rare drops on a certain kill count.
I get why, and I know I suffered. I was one of the people who very much suffered from the fact it's RNG, and it took me like 430 Carfight Queens to get it. But that thing has never been guaranteed, and it's been like this so long now with the tasks, with the diaries out. It's not too bad, I think.
I don't think
I
we
wish
should...
you could have told that to your old self who was killing it.
I know, but I didn't. Even when
It's
I was
not
doing
too
it, I
bad.
didn't want it to be guaranteed at 128. I sort of enjoyed the journey.
The chat is an overwhelming no.
Yeah, I actually quite like Calfight Queen. It's got that niche.
Yeah, I think there's a difference with the Volcath head, and that was very much done because
It involved a new BIS.
you're getting a new best in slot item like the
has
assembler.
utility, yeah.
It is fairly unfair to say that some person's going to have to do 500 Volcath kills to get a new best in slot item, while another person has to do 50. So, yeah,
There you
I think
go.
this is reasonable.
With that being said, that will summarize our Q&A. I believe we have quite a few left still for next week. And again, as Mod Ghost said, another sneak peek of the week, so look forward to that. And apart from that, don't think there's anything else we need to talk about. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.